Davis, one of the Target players to watch. Brought to you by Target. Expect more, pay less. An official sponsor of the Grand Rapids Rollers. Second and 13 from the 1, 8:40 to go in the first quarter, and they hand it off to Zach Parker on the right-hand side. He is dropped to the end zone for a safety. Goma Kaleka comes up and makes the play, and it's 2-0. Would you look at that? What a start for Grand Rapids.
3 receivers, 2 to the left side. Garcia's out of the shotgun. And Garcia will drop the pass. And Garcia fires deep down the middle. Wide open! That's Studwell, and that's a touchdown, Queen City!
And it's together, and I think you're right, Colin. Second. Picking him up. Sorry.
And Hawkins breaks a tackle, and Dion will go to the end zone. Touchdown Tulsa as Dion Hawkins takes a trap handoff up the middle.
Too much analysis, not enough excitement.
Follows the guard, pulled a 2-man miss with a spin, broke a tackle, and outran a lineman to the end zone.
Trying to get one more play in, and they do before the third quarter ends. Cochran, and oh my gosh, he makes that catch. He's running down the sideline. Not going to catch him, and Pop is the only one that can. He's not going to. Touchdown, Alaska. Robert Merrill with an absolute game changer of a catch.
Patterson, the one who made contact with him right there, but it was just a little too late.
And get a look at Mel Davis there, the linebacker, part of that core of linebackers for the Fleet. Tied for third most in the SFL in tackles, and I'm sure we'll see more from him today. But not this time, as Reggie Streeter has room on the bottom of the screen. He's going to get in the end zone. Touchdown, Rebs.
Wow, what a run by Streeter. Not touched until he crossed the goal line. Fantastic blocking by the offense. Fantastic blocking by the receivers. I got to throw that out there, too. And Streeter really takes advantage as he rumbles down the field for his 6th touchdown on the season.
Garcia back to pass. Garcia looks down the right side. Caught! 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Mora. Touchdown, Gorillas. Right over the top of the deep.
Bunch of receivers towards the bottom of the formation for LA on 2nd and 5. Richardson to throw again. He wants it all. End zone. Touchdown, LA. They strike first as far as hitting pay dirt, and this time it was a huge catch by LZ Pryor.
And LZ Pryor has been dubiously fast throughout this entire season, and we saw it right away as that play started to happen. The first person on that wide receiver trio that was breezing by was LZ Pryor, and I was thinking if someone was going to get that touchdown early on, it was going to be Pryor on that LA side, and lo and behold, that's a quick 6 for Los Angeles.
Their own 24-yard line. Steady diet of T-Roy Gaines, I think, is on the menu, and he's going to give us a nice shimmy and shake and have himself in the open field. And just like that, the Vultures are starting to fly over this game and circle themselves a win in the column as they get another touchdown on the board. It's 33-7 pending the extra point.
Just phenomenal patience and vision and strength on that play by T-Roy Gaines. He's able to do something.
3rd down and 11 at the 28. Peters back to pass. All day for Peters. Pressure breaks down. Fires a wide open receiver down the field. For a first down to the Dragon 48. What a find by Carter Peters. An outstanding throw. Peters running for his life. Could have called a hold there, maybe even. And what a big grab in the open field. First down, yet another big conversion for Carter Peters in the Sailor offense.
Really difficult position if you're San Francisco to be in. They are going to go for it. The crowd a little unsure of the decision. 4th and 8, this could be the ball game. Oklahoma would need one first down to end it. Hart out of the shotgun, back to throw. He's going to go left-hand side. The pass is caught. 5, touchdown on 4th down. San Francisco. More SFL drama. They take the lead.
As the sun sinks below the western horizon and the blazing temperatures begin to cool, the sands of the Arizona desert still retain the heat of an inner fire. The burning desire of unfinished business and to finally claim the title that the Arizona Scorpions believe is rightfully theirs. Standing in their way is a herd of angry toros, muscles tensed, horns sharpened, waiting for the order to charge. At their head, a fearless gunslinger who wants nothing more than to taste ultimate victory for a second time. Live from Fatality Field in Phoenix, Arizona, the SFL Season 20 semifinals continue right now. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Torello. Happy to have your company and happy to have the company tonight of Brett Killian. Brett, there's only one spot left in the finals and it's one of these two teams that's going to claim it.
And these are two teams that well deserve to get themselves in this spot at this moment. Fort Worth having their best season of their entire franchise career, 9-3, getting themselves a narrow 2017 victory over the Vancouver Legion, whereas Arizona, it's business as usual, back to the semifinals once again, but against a different opponent in the Fort Worth Toros. This is a matchup that we've probably been looking at more and more as the days get closer, so this is going to be probably, I would say, the better of the two matchups once we get to the end of things, but personally, Trillo.
Coverage of today's game is provided by Dags Droneworks, aerial photography and videography services for real estate, events, marketing, and more. Learn more at dagsdroneworks.com. It'll be the Arizona Scorpions in their ultraviolet blackout uniforms to get us underway. Emilio Rose, the kicker for Fort Worth, has the ball on the tee, and it's game on here at Fatality Field. One of these two teams will live to fight another day. The other one's season will end agonizingly close to the ultimate precipice. Ashley Jackson is the Scorpions quarterback. DJ Moses, the running back. Justin Williams at fullback. Ryan Owens, Connor Weston, and TJ Punk, the wide receivers. Will Todd, the tight end. EJ DeQ, Patrick Kelly, and Sean Crooked man the offensive line. High formation, strong side to the right. That's where the two tight ends are to start the game. 7 to the box for the Toros, and all white tonight. They want a weak side run, and the Toros are having absolutely none of it. Nice tackle to begin the game by Jeff Duffy.
And this is what we should expect from Arizona and Fort Worth here. Arizona, you know, coming in as the league's best rushing offense, and there's no reason that we should discredit DJ Moses' effort this season. He's definitely an MVP candidate, and Fort Worth is definitely eyeing on Moses throughout this game.
Handoff, Moses, nowhere to go. This time Aiden Davis swallows him up, and it's 3rd and 9. Here's the Fort Worth starting offense. Jeff Duffy, Jerry D. Gond, Luther Gott, and Melt Gibson on the defensive line. A.K. Vincent, Noah Regier, and J.L. Browning, the linebackers. Adam Leach, Remington James, and Aiden Davis, the corners. Ben Stone and Delaney Nash, the safeties. Jackson to put it in the air for the first time today in her 9th season in the SFL. Lobs it, intercepted! She was looking for Ryan Owens, and all that she found was Remington James, and the first major event goes to Fort Worth.
And Remington James picking off right where he left off in the semifinal game. The last defensive play for Fort Worth in the Vancouver quarterfinal matchup ended in a Remington James interception. And on their first defensive drive, Remington James gets the interception once again. Fantastic field position for Marcus Dunhill.
And now here is the gunslinger that I mentioned in the cold open. He's been there once before with the Atlanta Swarm. He wants to get there again with his new team. Unfortunately for Atlanta, they couldn't get the job done earlier today, falling to Baltimore in a very competitive contest. But it is once again the Kings back on the throne. Baltimore away to the top of the mountain for one of these two teams.
And right now, I would say Arizona definitely has a bit more motivation because they just played them in last season's championship game, and they want to get back to them.
Out to Jay-Z Bacon, who is 2 yards shy of the first down. Tackled by Alex Constantine. Here's the Fort Worth offense. Marcus Dunhill at quarterback, Jay-Z Bacon at running back, Aaron Alexander the fullback, John Fullerton, Cade Stevens, Charlie Baker, and Stephen Hacker at wide receiver, Robert Garrett Jr. at tight end, and Emilio Panda and Frank Burks on the offensive line. 3rd and 2. First run for Bacon, and he is cooked in the backfield.
And right now, both defenses playing pretty stout right now. I know Arizona was really keying in on Fort Worth's running game after Jay-Z Bacon had a fantastic performance against Vancouver in the quarterfinal game. And now it's led to here, Amelia Rose, I would say probably a chip shot field goal attempt for her, only from about 42 yards out.
The chance to put the Fort Worth Toros on the board and cash in on an early Remington James interception, and she does just that. In the regular season, Rose was 17 of 18. It's the first one tonight, and it's 3-0 Fort Worth.
Yeah, and this is what Fort Worth, doesn't do all too often, because they're very much a team that capitalizes on their chances, gets, big points off turnovers, gets those touchdowns. But Arizona kind of showing that, they're going to be defensively stout as well to start things off. Now it's for that offense, shake off that bad juju off that first drive there.
And I was very surprised that Fort Worth kind of came out to stop the run. They stacked the box, and over their first drive, Arizona seemingly had no answer for it. They'll start from their own 20-yard line as Ryan Owens returns the kick. Owens averaging 22 yards a return across the regular season. Here we go. Arizona back on offense, this time down 3-0. 9 in the box for Fort Worth. They throw. Nice block on the outside by Sean Crooked. Allows DJ Moses to pick up 6 yards, 2nd and 4.
Yeah, it was basically the only saving grace on that play there, is that if Crooked could get to the oncoming tackler, that would have been and it ended up happening. It ended up being a decent gain of 6 yards out of it. Otherwise, it would have been a 2-yard loss. So great blocking from the offensive lineman.
This time Moses not on the field at all. 4 wideouts for Jackson Duamat. Here comes the late pressure. There's a man open out of the far side, and TJ Punk makes a grab. Yeah, TJ Punk does make that catch, and it is first down.
Yeah, and head coach Eddie Gage knows what to do when Ashley Jackson is shaken after that first drive there. It's not going to be, any more flashy passes. It's going to be those safe throws, those out route throws, those, flat throws. Those are what you're to expect, at least the next couple attempts.
This time a bunch formation. Connor Weston picks up a short gain over the middle and then falls forward for an eventual gain of 7.
And Weston was the big man on the block against Carolina in the quarterfinal game. Had 2 touchdowns on his 7 receptions there. It was really a big part of Arizona's success, especially in the latter stages of that Carolina game.
Arizona approaching midfield at the 40-yard line. This time Moses gets the ball for the first time on this drive. Picks up 1, 3rd down, and that many.
Yeah, and really Fort Worth really is probably keying in the most on DJ Moses. He had 177 against Carolina. He's averaging about 130 per game this season. So that is a daunting task for any defense, and it's right for Fort Worth to really try to stuff DJ Moses wherever he gets the ball.
3rd and 1. It's DJ, and he goes absolutely nowhere. Jerry D. Gond heads up the defensive front, and Moses gets the horns.
And it was great pursuit from the entirety of that defensive line of Fort Worth to really pressure Moses after the handoff. Didn't really have much breathing room, didn't have enough time to really, start his engines at all before getting tackled. So great job from Fort Worth to stop this drive.
First punt of the day from either team comes from Glass Jaw. And Ryan Owens doesn't get very far, only to the Fort Worth 25, but promising start for the Toros on the road here in the semifinals.
Yeah, and this is what Fort Worth probably needs to do against this team of Arizona. Offensively this season, Arizona has been a high-scoring team. Both of them have, in fact, but Fort Worth has been, I would say, the worser of the defensive squad. So if the defense can show up, that gives Fort Worth the chance.
Into the flat for Bacon, tries to spin back to the inside and is wrapped up and dropped right there for a gain of only 1. In the regular season, both of these teams in the top 5 in points per game. Fort Worth 33.5, Arizona 32.2. Defensively, Arizona giving up 25 points a game and Fort Worth 27. Both of those are in the bottom half of the league table in those statistics. So we could see a high-scoring one here tonight. Bacon with some room to run, shoulders a defender to the ground. That's Parker Thomas that got the worst of that. And he eventually gets to the 35, setting up 3rd and 1.
And this is probably what both running backs need to do. The offensive sets probably need to change to the idea where, running up the gut isn't going to work. They might just have to start with swing passes to set the tone for these running backs. As you can see with that JZ Bacon run, had plenty of space on that right side to get the 9 yards.
Linebackers pressing up to the line. It's going to be another check down. Stop and go from Bacon, and he's short. And J.C. Bacon is not getting up. A huge disaster for the Toros as their bell cow is down in the first quarter.
And that is not what they need. We're talking about 1,100-yard rusher this season getting absolutely crushed by Sean Moore, the inside linebacker. Just didn't know where it was coming. Possible helmet-to-helmet hit out of that. You can never tell what kind of injury happens on that kind of tackle, but that is definitely demoralizing here to start things off after Fort Worth being so defensively sound. They're going to have to trust on their defense a lot more here moving forward.
And insult to injury, they didn't even get the first down, so Ray Einhorn comes on to punt for the Toros. He gets it away. Ryan Owens, fair catches at the 35. And you never want to kind of say this, Brett, but is that the spark that Arizona needs to maybe get their offense going? Seeing their defense make a big play and one of their key opposition potentially out for the game.
I think truly their spark needs to be from a big DJ Moses run here, especially on this set.
This is the strong run set, but somebody missed a block. And Jerry D. Gond, for the second time in this first quarter, smacks DJ Moses for a big loss.
Yeah, and there's a reason why that Fort Worth defensive line has been so daunting. We are talking about 42 tackles for loss from all 4 defensive linemen, Duffy, Jerry D. Luther, and Gibson.
Over the middle, laying on the back of a defender and somehow caught. I don't know how Will Todd picked that one out of the air, but apparently he's been playing some pinball in his spare time. 3rd down and 12, it only got Arizona 2 yards.
I was just going to say, this ain't Saturday night in the SFL anymore. This is Wednesday morning, and we're playing Plinko on The Price is Right.
That takes me back to childhood, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Jackson, deep drop. Pressure comes, and she goes down. It's the other side of the defensive line. Luther Gond with the sack. And that was a 3-man rush, Brett.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you how daunting this defensive line they're tough to stop. And going back to that stat line, you're talking about the Gons duo there. We're talking about 16.5 sacks between those two guys alone in the regular season. And they've been spectacular in this game already. We're not even through the first quarter.
Jaw with his second punt of the first quarter. Very defensive to start this game, kind of the opposite of what we were thinking going into it. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, it's football for everyone. Third offensive set for Fort Worth. And it's a swing out to the backup running back.
Yeah, we might see, at least in this drive here, a lot of Irvin E. Cameron, especially on those swing passes, just to see what he can make out of it. But don't be too surprised if Dunhill starts to throw it a little bit deeper. He's got two of the best targets in this league. We haven't seen any of Cade Stevens or Stephen Hacker yet today.
Cameron gets pummeled. 3rd down and 6. And if for Fort Worth, like Arizona, whose main identity is running the football, having your primary running back out is just going to kill the ground game.
Oh, it's going to basically neutralize that ground game to 0, really. And you know, the coaching staff probably has to think about, like you see here, a 4-receiver set, nobody in the back.
It's going to be on the arm of Marcus Dunhill. And all slants. And Parker Thomas jumps the route and takes it away from Cade Stevens. 3 and out for Fort Worth.
And possibly a little bit of jitters there from Dunhill on that pass as well, because on the inside, Charlie Baker was wide open on the slants, but instead he goes on the outside to Stevens, where he was, you know, semi-covered there, ended up being fully covered by the time that Stevens was able to get an opportunity to catch that football. So right now, I think that is a wasted effort on that 3rd down for Fort Worth.
Teams trading punts in the first quarter. Visit the all-new league website presented by Football Shift at simulationfl.net, featuring all league highlights, photo galleries, playoff and minor league stats and leaderboards, community content, and so much more. The all-new league website, simulationfl.net. We're already approaching the end of this first quarter with not a lot of action. The only points coming off of the interception and field goal. A look at the stats right there. Both teams under 20 total yards for the first quarter. This is a free play, though. Jackson waits for the play to develop, and the pass is broken up.
And just going back to that fact that it's been a back-and-forth contest here, when's the last time between these two teams that we've seen already the 7th drive of the quarter here between the two teams? That is how back-and-forth this game has been already.
These teams have met 4 times in franchise history. The Scorpions have taken all 4 meetings, 2 at home, 2 on the road. The last one back in season 19, a 27-24 win that Arizona took in overtime.
Yeah, and that one ended up being a 4th quarter defensive battle between these two teams. Only 3 points scored. That was an Amelia Rose field goal to tie the game up. And then Cliff Allen seals the deal in about 4 minutes in the overtime period.
Still nothing for DJ Moses up the middle. And if you were just looking at the stats and the box score, you may be hard-pressed to figure out which running back is the backup.
Yeah, that's been true. Moses has had a very tough time in this first quarter, but that defensive line has been spectacular through this first quarter.
Moses gets it again, and all he needs is an inch of space. He finds a little bit of room, 3rd down and 2, and now a quandary for the Arizona coaching staff. Run or pass?
Yeah, in a 3rd and short situation, you can really go either or, but that defensive line has got to have you second guessing so far. Really, I might think about throwing it deep. You've got an option in TJ Punk, who has been red hot through the last course of the season.
They will run it. Stretch play to the left. A block is made, and DJ Moses finally picks up a 1st down.
And that might be the straw that broke the proverbial back of this Arizona run game here to finally get themselves going. Some decent blocking, fantastic work on that last edge block there that you saw in the replay. Good job from Ernie Shavers, the guard, to get himself involved in that play to give Moses some extra time on the outside.
There'll be one last play in this first quarter with a 2-second difference between the play clock and the game clock. It'll be another Moses run that gets stuffed up the middle for absolutely nothing. Noah Regier His 2-season veteran puts him in the ground, and that is the end of a very defensive first quarter. Arizona down 3-0. Baltimore awaits the winner of this one in the championship game. 3 quarters left right here on the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on YouTube. Thank you once again for joining us for SFL Semifinals Saturday. My name is Michael Trillo. Brett Killian is the other voice you're hearing on the broadcast today. Justin Reside and Top Kiefer are our statisticians. Cameron Irvine is, as always, running the broadcast behind the scenes. DJ Moses, first play of quarter number 2, and he is going to take it 57 yards to the house. Touchdown, Scorpions.
You know, I use this saying all the time, but it is so much true here. There are 3 sure things in life: death, taxes, and DJ Moses breaking out for a big run for the Arizona Scorpions. And that just came to key blocking, and especially came from that right side. You can see the blocks, the dual blocks happening. You saw Vin Diesel, the backup tight end, coming in with that extra block, as well as the lineman just getting extra pushes. Again, Shavers coming in big time, the guard, to help Moses carry forward. And if that isn't, you know, total team football to get the score, I don't know what is. Arizona on the board.
That is a direct result, Brett, of the Arizona Scorpions' vision for their running game. That's why they signed to Q Kelly and Crooked, because they can push forward against the defensive line. They can make those holes for DJ Moses to run through, and once Moses gets an inch, he's going to take a mile.
Yeah, and that's why that these 3 guys, especially on that offensive line, have stayed on this team for multiple years at this point. DeQ in his 6th season, as well as Crooked. Patrick Kelly getting close to 4 seasons with Arizona. They are trusted linemen, and they are the best of the best. 9 all-star selections between those 3 linemen.
And now, Fort Worth is going to have to respond, and with Jay-Z Bacon's status still unknown, it's going to have to be on the arm of Marcus Dunhill, and probably a game plan change for Stephen Hacker, Luis Gonzalez, and Aaron Alexander on the sidelines for Fort Worth.
It definitely has to at this point. As much as, you know, Irvin E. Cameron is probably a capable running back and has a name synonymous with someone we know, you know, you can't trust him because he hasn't been in this big stage yet. So maybe go with the run game here, or pass game.
They do throw it out to the flat. Robert Garrett Jr., the tight end, picks it up, and Jay-Z Bacon is done for the game.
That was a torn bicep too. That's going to be tough to stitch back up, and you know that just confirms that Fort Worth is probably going to have to trust in the veteran, in Marcus Dunhill, to get themselves moving forward for the rest of this game.
And it's not like Marcus Dunhill is incapable at quarterback. He leads the league this season in touchdown passes, 33 in the regular season. But he's going to float it out to Cameron, who cannot get away from the long arms of Parker Thomas, and it's 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, and right now, I think it's just, you know, really trust in Dunhill, and I would say trust in arguably the best wide receiver this season in Stephen Hacker. I might be the only one that has thought that you know, sentiment this season, but Hacker's your guy moving forward.
5 wide, 4-man rush. Dunhill gonna air it out, and it's caught! Guess who? Stephen Hacker, Johnny on the spot for a massive first down.
And that is why I have believed more in Stephen Hacker than any other wide receiver in the league this season. This is a guy that can catch on one-on-one situation. He gets you your yards per catch. He moves the chains forward, and more importantly, he gets touchdowns for the Fort Worth Toros. This is the guy that should be getting all the touches throughout this quarter.
Just shy of 1,500 yards on 100 receptions in the regular season, and a league-leading 15 receiving touchdowns. Handoff, Cameron, nowhere to go, 2nd and 9. I was looking over my notes in the form of the research sheet that Mike Daggs prepares for us every week, and if somebody is number 1 in the league in a stat, it has a little gold square next to it. The amount of gold on this sheet combined between these two teams is staggering.
Yeah, you're just looking at it from both sides of the football. You're seeing lots of golds, lots of silvers, and lots of bronzes too.
Cameron on a swing pass. No yards, 3rd and 10.
Yeah, and right now they're really still trying to utilize that playbook that was really meant for JZ Bacon and see if Cameron can, at least get a little bit of yardage, but they're putting themselves in these holes now. The last time it was 3rd and 7, this time it's 3rd and 10. It's gonna be tough if they continue going this way.
And they're gonna have to do it again on 3rd and long. This time
good
tipped
tip.
in the air and incomplete. Excellent job by Sean Moore to get his hand to that one. And it's going to be a punt coming for Fort Worth. And this puts extra strain on the Fort Worth defense because they're going to have to make this a low-scoring contest.
Exactly, and I think that's what comes to Arizona's benefit here, is that it's going to bring that extra strain. We might see more 3-and-outs from Fort Worth because they're trying to utilize that playbook still and try to get Cameron involved here, but Sean Moore, that is a guy that you really want to fear. He is probably one of the only linebackers this season to get 10-plus pass deflections this season.
Much on the return for Ryan Owens. And a 1st down and 10 from Arizona at their own 19-yard line. Deepest field position for either team in the ball game.
And right now, Arizona can really utilize this opportunity to really break this lead open a little bit and give themselves a little bit of breathing room, getting closer to that halftime break so they can talk to themselves and see what they need to change in order to, continue holding the lead.
Bunch to the left, single to the right. 3-step drop for Jackson. Nice little scissors action to get Connor Weston open for 8 yards.
Yeah, and it's a really good work. I love bunch formations, especially when they're close to that offensive line, because it's not going to guarantee that all 3 of those receivers going deep like you saw there. Owens ran a very quick out route, and it left him wide open because the Fort Worth players were really worried about that streak coming down the middle.
2nd and 2. Moses takes the handoff, running left, gets a good block, and a second one. DJ Moses past the 50, outside, and he's taken out near the 30-yard line. Another massive run for DJ, and a touchdown-saving tackle made by Aiden Davis.
And just look at the difference that Arizona has made to their run approach here. Early on in that first quarter, where were those runs heading? Up the middle, where the defensive line is. This time they're stretching it out wide so Moses has space to run. And you see the results there. Already over the century mark in this first half when it felt like he wasn't even going to get to 10 yards.
Fresh look from the Arizona offense. This time an offset eye. Strong side run for Moses. He's weaving his way through the white towers of the Fort Worth defense and ends up getting 4 yards.
Yeah, and you're really starting to see that confidence from the offensive line after Moses breaks off from these runs. It's giving them that newfound energy to help break open gaps for Moses. That was not seen in that first quarter.
Same formation for a second play in a row. This time it's a weak side toss to DJ Moses, and he gets nowhere. Nice tackle by J.L. Browning. The SFL convention is coming to Cincinnati, Ohio, July 28th to 30th for season 21 kickoff weekend. For room reservation details on the weekend scheduled, see the convention alerts channel in the Discord server. Rooms are going fast and some have already sold out. Reserve your special group rate today. We'll see you there, and I'll see you there. I'm going to the convention. Never miss it. Don't plan to anytime soon. Jackson spinning, does a little pirouette act, and finds an open receiver down the middle, Connor Weston. I'm speechless about that. Ashley Jackson, where'd you get your dancing shoes from?
That is Ashley Jackson's best play of the season. There's no doubt about it. Gets away from the Gone brothers there, the Gone duo there, and just spins around, jukes around, just feels like the pocket's empty. Don't worry, I'll get myself some open space. And how about that? Get yourself an open receiver, and look at that, 1st and goal from the 9.
All props to Connor Weston, too. Noticed it was a big play, broke off his route, came back, and gave Jackson someone to throw to. Now it's DJ Moses, can't get away from E.K. Vincent's 2nd and goal.
And here's what Fort Worth did really well against Vancouver, especially in that second half, is that, when it gets to closer to enemy territory, it became tougher and tougher for the Legion to score. and that's why they only resulted in getting 6 points before the 2-minute break. The Legion did. Fort Worth was just so daunting, especially when it came to goal line scenarios.
Moses not on the field at 2nd and goal from the 9. Jackson, a 3-step drop over the middle and incomplete. Overthrew her intended receiver, and it's 3rd and goal.
Yeah, and this is, I think, really ideal at this point is just for Fort Worth to stop this 3rd down opportunity here and force them to get Cliff Allen to get this field goal, because it's still going to make a 7-point game. It's still possible for them to at least tie this up on the ensuing drive. So it's just one more stop for Fort Worth in their mind.
5 wide this time for Arizona. Jackson in the gun. Calls for the snap, it's belt high. Plenty of time in the pocket, and it's popped off! Better than holding him to 3. How about we'll hold him to nada? On a 2nd interception of the game for the Fort Worth defense, Delaney Nash takes it away.
The joint season leader in interceptions, Delaney Nash, along with Ben Stone and Adam Leach, they come in at tough times against opposing offenses who look to score, and that is exactly what is seen here. Delaney Nash just lurking, creeping, waiting for Jackson to pass, and it gets right into Nash's hands.
Dunhill throws
Watch
to
out.
Cameron, and maybe it was better that he didn't catch that ball, because Alex Constantine was on him like blue on a blanket.
That was doomed from the start for Fort Worth. I don't know if that was the right call to make on a 1st down play from the 4-yard line. That has got to be something they got to take off their playbook with, I wouldn't say a reserve running back, but not the running back that they want to have out on the field right now.
This time they hand the ball off, and Cameron goes nowhere. 3rd and 11 from the 3.
Yeah, it's pushing a deeper and deeper hole. They keep trying to use Cameron here to see if they can get themselves, any forward movement, try to utilize that 2-way game. But now that Bacon's out, you might be forced to have a one-dimensional offense at this point. And right now, I'm looking again at either Stephen Hacker or Kate Stevens to at least get the 1st down.
On 3rd and 11, they run the ball to Christian and get absolutely nowhere, and it's going to be excellent field position for Arizona to try and pick up right where they left off on their previous drive.
Yeah, this felt like a concession from Fort Worth after the interception there. 3 straight runs with your 2nd string running back inside your own 5-yard line. You can't do that.
Einhorn punting from the back of his own end zone. Let's see how far this one flies. To the 35-yard line and to the 34. Goes Ryan Owens, and almost in field goal range already for Arizona.
I would say field goal range already for Arizona. That's a 50-yarder. We've seen Cliff Allen kick those and hit them easily. We've seen him hit from 54. You can't forget that was the game winner at one point last season in the quarterfinals to get themselves to meeting London in the semifinals, in which they absolutely destroyed them. Arizona looking to try to do the same thing here this season.
Here in the semifinals, the Scorpions were the underdogs. This time the favorites. And they are looking to quash any hope of an upset early here in this one with under 5 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter.
And why not chew up the clock with DJ Moses? Just see how much forward they can push the football. You can see just a newfound confidence in the 2nd quarter. Almost feels like a completely different Arizona offense.
Moses middle, great push from the offensive line on a 1st down.
Yeah, and there was a huge sea of light there that was looking to get to Moses, but like you said, great job from the offensive line to keep pushing forward. And even though that gap was creeping smaller and smaller, Moses still got through and got the 1st down.
You could tell that Fort Worth's defense has been on the field for far too long in this 1st half, and they are gassed already. Moses, stiff arm, fighting towards that 1st down marker, will be a yard short.
And that one was a tough run this time for Moses because he had about 3 defenders, probably at that 5-yard marker after running, just trying to get to him. Nice little, shedding of that 1st tackle, almost gets the 2nd one off, and you can see just the stark difference because of the Bacon injury, the rushing difference already.
Moses leaps over a defender, gets down inside the 10. And we are right back where we were about 2 minutes ago before the interception.
Yeah, and hopefully for Arizona, Lightning doesn't strike twice, but they got to be smart with their throws, especially from Ashley Jackson, and that's 2 interceptions now this quarter, and maybe has been the reason why this is only a 4-point game with 2 minutes left in the second.
If I'm at a gauge, I don't think I throw the ball at all here. I keep giving it to DJ. This time they will out of the backfield, and he is going to be cut down at the 3-yard line, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning of the first half. Arizona looking to pile on the pressure here in the semifinals. The Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on YouTube. Second and goal from the 3. Handoff. Moses fighting for the goal line, and he's got it. Touchdown, Arizona.
Yeah, and that one, it almost looked like he was going to get stopped at the 1, but then he just sheds himself a little bit to the left where the open space is, gets into the end zone, and that is what Arizona's been looking for, that separation to get themselves moving forward and have great confidence heading into the halftime break. Moses almost at $150 off 2 touchdowns. Just amazing work in this second quarter from DJ2.
19 carries in the first half, on pace for nearly 40 touches for DJ Moses. And with the game state as it is right now, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets there.
Not at all whatsoever. He's just been a different man. It's been a tale of 2 quarters for DJ Moses, and he's really capitalized on this good performance in this second.
You got that right. After the first quarter, we were kind of looking at each other going, well, maybe this is going to be a game of maybe one big score wins it. And then Arizona found something different on offense, and Jay-Z Bacon has punished this Fort Worth defense. Not a lot on the return for Baker. Fort Worth with 1:50 to go in the half. Maybe just wants to run out the clock and head to the break, only down 11.
Honestly, if I'm Fort Worth, though, I would go aggressive here because you've got a 2-for-1 opportunity. If you use the last minute 50 here, you've got the football back in this third quarter. So really try to capitalize in that passing game that hasn't been used too often this last 8 or so minutes here.
It is going to be Dunhill, but nobody's open, and cutting through the offensive line like a hot knife through butter is Hunter Norwood for the sack.
Yeah, and we always talk about, the pocket that quarterbacks have. Well, in this play, what pocket? It just after the drop step from Dunhill, there was no pocket whatsoever. Hunter Norwood was already there, and there was no chance for him to throw that football.
Now 2nd and 14, Dunhill nailed as he let that ball go, and it's knocked down by Iverson Gamble.
And that was another well-timed deflection coming from the offsetting player here. The last time we talked about that was Sean Moore coming in. And again, Hacker was wide open. He beat his man. He beat Everett Garrison. And then Gamble comes in with the well-timed deflection again. And I think that's what Arizona's trying to do to limit the passing game, is use their tertiary players to get those pass deflections and really lower Dunhill's completion percentage.
And that's that zone defense working to a premium for Arizona in this game when Dunhill does get passes off. 3rd and 14. Dunhill, middle, incomplete. Moore looked like he had that one in his hands, but it falls to the ground, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, and Moore probably went to the Jeff Gagne's school of catching, because that was probably the easiest throw he's going to get all day right to him, and he just bulbs it loose. Yes, Charlie Baker was a wide open there, but Dunhill threw it way too low.
Well, you were right, Brett. Fort Worth did try to go aggressive, but 3 negative plays, and they ended up being a 4th and 14 and another 3 and out. Now it's 1:07 left for Arizona to drive half the length of the field and make this a 3-score game at halftime.
Yeah, they could really make Fort Worth pay here. And, heading into halftime, would you be more confident in a 14-3 game or a 21-3 game? I would guess you would want that 21-3 game. Arizona, use DJ to get to the end zone one more time before the half ends.
4 3-and-outs for Fort Worth. That's a good start for the Fort Worth defense. A second sack for Jerry G. Gond. Jackson to throw. Lots of room for Moses on the right-hand side, and he picks up all the yards lost and more. Picks up 3rd and 2 now from the 41. Clock stops at 51 seconds as he was driven out of bounds by Aiden Davis.
Yeah, that's the most important part here for Arizona. It stops the clock because I don't think they were in a formation they wanted to stay in with the hurry-up, so they went with a play that they know that someone could at least get to the sidelines. That's a swing pass to DJ, who is your hot man right now, so just, keep feeding him the ball like, you keep feeding sumo wrestlers after practice. So it's great work to get that out of bounds and change the formation up.
Man, people were giving me crap in the comments for the blue on a blanket analogy. I think that one takes the cake. Dagger over the middle, cut by TJ Punk. First down, Arizona, 45 seconds. They're going to go up tempo at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, they want to score here. That's a good idea. You want 21 before half.
Moses out of the backfield. Spinorama. And finally a timeout taken by the Scorpions with 33 seconds.
Yeah, it's now time to utilize those timeouts. You're getting close to the red zone here. And, I don't think you want to settle for 3. You definitely want to get some major points on the board. Strike another blow to Fort Worth before they head to the locker room. I'm guessing at halftime it's going to be a pretty quiet locker room for the Toros here.
33 total touches for DJ Moses so far in the first half. Jackson, middle, caught. First and goal at the 10. And a diving grab in traffic for TJ Punk.
Man, what a change in mentality for Arizona, because, you think after that first drive that ended in a Remington James interception, you thought, oh boy, Arizona's going to have one of those games. But great response after the fact. They've just, turned things up to a whole different level. I don't think Fort Worth was ready for that sudden of a change here. Now we're getting to the end, almost to the end of this drive, practically a 1st and goal here.
2 receivers each side. They can get a first down inside the 1. That was a big tip off of a defensive lineman as Ashley Jackson got hit as she threw. And man.
Oh man, Adam Leach, you had your chance. That was a absolute duck thrown by Ashley Jackson as she got hit. It was right in your breadbasket and you could have ran it to the house. That was your chance to really even the playing field.
That could have been 6 points the other way. But Arizona has another chance. Moses with 25 seconds has a blocker in front of him and outruns the defender, which was the attacker, which is Will Todd. And eventually he's tackled short of the goal line by Ben Stone.
Yeah, and you can tell that maybe Will Todd is getting ready for the end of the season there. He's not as quick as he was at the start of the season. Maybe those legs are starting to churn a little bit slower, but if you're going to be a blocker, you got to be ready and get ahead of Moses, man. That could have been a potential touchdown-saving tackle.
3rd and 2. From just inside the 3-yard line, Jackson to throw, middle incomplete. The linebackers getting all sorts of contact on balls over the middle today. That time, E.K. Vincent knocked it down, and it's going to be a chip shot Cliff Allen field goal to end the half.
Yeah, practically from the extra point line for Cliff Allen, so this should be a no-doubter unless he has, one of those weird moments that we've seen in the history of the SFL. I don't think it's happened from this close, though.
We have seen extra points blocked before.
That's true.
So nothing is off the table, but this time, easy as you like. All the mechanics correct for the special teams unit, and it's 17-3 Arizona, who are just about to run away with this one as we head towards the end of the first half.
Yeah, and right now Fort Worth has had 0 response, arguably since the J.Z. Bacon injury. So that I'd say, at least that passing game has to wake up here.
We will see if Fort Worth can change the game plan for the second half and basically go all Dunhill all the time. 12 seconds left. I don't think we're going to get anything overly aggressive from the Toros here.
It's definitely possible, but yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we'll see anything too outrageous. I think they'll just run the clock out, and they'll really focus on changing their approach, especially offensively, heading to the second half. I'm probably guessing a lot more Dunhill passes a little bit deeper down the field.
149 yards on 19 carries for DJ Moses. That ball batted down. It's another linebacker pass deflection. This time for Sean Moore. But as I was saying before, 149 yards on 19 carries with 2 touchdowns for DJ Moses in the first half, and 90% of that in the second quarter. Nine seconds in the first half. Dunhill in shotgun formation, max protect. He goes to the flat. The receiver is tackled in bounds, and that'll do it. Fort Worth had a dagger blow early. J.Z. Bacon down with an injury, and they haven't recovered since, but they've got 2 more quarters to try and climb back into this semifinal. It's 17-3 at halftime. Brett Killian, what say you?
Yeah, and that's been the tone of this game for Fort Worth, is because it feels like, they were starting to really start neutralizing, at least offensively, that Arizona offense game. But right when that injury happened, it felt like a balloon just deflated. And that balloon is, the proverbial, hearts of Fort Worth players and fans. Just seeing an injury, ends up being a torn bicep, out for the rest of this game, potentially for the rest of the season if it continues this pace. And Arizona responded by just flipping the switch. It just immediately, the next drive came in, Moses felt like a different man. Ashley Jackson was starting to make some key throws, at the end of the second quarter. So right now, it's time for Fort Worth to wake back up here. Arizona has played just their traditional game at this point. This, 17 is a score that we usually see from Arizona in this first half. Not 3 points from Fort Worth. So it's time for them to wake up here and get with the page. It's time to come back. Your season is on the line. You've got a chance to make your first championship final. Some people don't want to see a rematch between Arizona and Baltimore here. Let's see it happen.
The only thing I have to compare this to is the wild card round where Carolina won with Ike McBride, their star running back, out of the game. But they did it by keeping the score low, and they did it with defense. They picked off Tulsa 5 times in that game to keep the game close, and eventually won it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and
this time it's going to have to be a full scale. Yeah, it's going to have to be a full scale comeback. They didn't have a big lead to begin with to sit on with their star running back out. Did Fort Worth. It's going to be on Marcus Dunhill and his receivers, who do get the ball first here in the second half, to kickstart that comeback. Second half underway. 2 more quarters until we know our second and final SFL championship game participant. Baltimore awaits the winner of this game. If Arizona wins, it'll be right back here. Actually, the winner of this game will host the championship because Baltimore came in as the 4 seed, and this is the 2-3 matchup.
Yeah, and Fort Worth, it starts with their pass game. Like, going at the end of this first half, would you expect Kate Stevens and Stephen Hacker to have a combined 3 receptions in one half? No, you didn't. They need to start responding with those 2 guys to start off.
Dunhill can only fire it into the ground as he had his upper body twisted the wrong direction by Alex Constantine and David Tilley.
Yeah, and if you're going to throw it to your receivers, you've got to have that pocket available for Dunhill. So Emilio Panda and Frank Burks, it's time to, get those sleeves up a little bit here, put your big boy pants on, and start blocking.
2nd and 10. Dunhill. No clean pocket again. And it's another incomplete pass.
Yeah, this is just setting up for doom here for the Toros. Like, that should have been a throw that Dunhill should have had off way earlier. And by the time that he was getting hit, he was just turning to the receiver, not even having his arm outstretched to prepare for the throw. He's starting to get a little bit nervous in the pocket.
Will Todd with the super chat says smash that like button. And Fort Worth likes to see that. There's a first down. Finally a catch from Robert Garrett Jr., only his second of the game.
Yeah, I'm a cowboy, baby. Get it to your cowboy and Robert Garrett Jr. as well. Throw it to the tight end. You've got Dags in the chat. He wants to see some more throws to the tight end.
Said like a true Canadian.
Oh, yeah.
First and 10 for Fort Worth. Free play for the Toros, and once again the pocket collapses, and Dunhill is forced to the ground. This is almost reminding me of there was a NFC championship game a long time ago where Brett Favre was the quarterback, and he threw that interception right at the end of the game that would have sent the Vikings to the Super Bowl. But that game, he didn't record a sack, but he got hit basically every play. And that's what this is looking like to me. First and 5. Dunhill against the four-man rush. Finds a weak spot in the zone. Cade Stevens picks up a grab, and it's first down into Arizona territory.
And that's why you have those two receivers, Stevens and Hacker, for a reason. They get themselves open, breaking open on that, that man-to-man coverage, that close man-to-man coverage, had no issues just slinging an absolute laser beam to Stevens. And this is what they need to do. Move those chains. We haven't seen a first down from Fort Worth in a while.
They picked up 2 so far on this drive. Their longest drive of the game has been 7 plays. Dunhill, pressure in his face, gets it off to Garrett, and he picks up 5 yards. So one more play will match the longest by play count for the game for Fort Worth.
And then this is what Fort Worth needs to do. If they're going to go with their passing game, you need to start spreading the wealth a little bit more here. Right now, Garrett and Stevens have been your main guys, but let's get your other guys involved too.
3 linebackers. They all go back into the flat. Here's Cameron, and almost ran into Garrett Jr. And now Irvin Cameron.
Oh my God!
Is hurt.
Are you kidding me?
It's a domino effect on the Fort Worth running backs.
And that's got to be an arm injury too. Look at how he landed on his arm. That's an unnatural way of landing on the arm. Now my question is, who's going to come in? Is Aaron Alexander going to be playing a halfback at this point?
I think maybe a wide receiver. The fourth wide receiver may switch to running back. We'll see. Pass, middle, tipped, intercepted. Iverson Gamble says, I'll take that. And that may be the easiest interception of his season.
Man, you said it right in that last play. Domino effect. And how about that last domino falling to one of the easiest hot potato interceptions that Arizona's ever going to have, right to Iverson Gamble's hands. And again, you thought the JZ Bacon injury was deflating. How about the second string running back getting injured? That is extra deflation there.
I didn't catch the number of who was at tailback for Fort Worth on their last play. DJ Moses doesn't care. He's weaving through traffic and picking up 6 yards.
This is just the events to get to where we are right now. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo board tonight, to have 2 running backs get injured and they're both on the same team. Arizona has to feel so confident in this drive now.
So we have had it confirmed that Charlie Baker, who is wide receiver 3 for Fort Worth, is now in at running back for the Toros. Nobody had this on their bingo sheet, and if you did, you're lying.
Yeah, and you know, if Mark Lopez, if you're here, you'd be lying if you made that bingo board and said, you know what, one of the wide receivers is going to play running back. There's just no chance in heck whatsoever.
I believe this has happened at least one other time in SFL history. I do remember Gabriel Manning scoring a touchdown as a running back when he was a wide receiver. Nice pass over the middle. The funniest thing about that play was I don't think it was intended for Ryan Owens. I think it was a bad pass intended for TJ Punk.
Yeah, it's very interesting, especially when you have those crossing slant patterns. You can really throw it to two targets at once if you wanted to, and it lands into the hands of the other receiver getting involved. And you know what? They'll take it.
First down for Arizona at the 45. Delayed handoff to Moses. He gets a block. He gets outside. And a first down, 12 more yards for DJ. Eventually tackled by Ben Stone.
Yeah, and Moses is going to have a field day the rest of the way here. He's gotten his big highlight play, and he's probably going to be wanting more by the end of this game here. But Arizona really cruising at this point. The blocking has been immaculate. You know, at least in this last 15 minutes of play here to get Moses the extra yardage. So all confidence for both games, both passing and running, have been great for Arizona.
It's middle, nowhere to go. Noah Regier with the tackle. The 20th SFL Championship is almost here. Join Cameron Irvine, Chris Curtis, Tyler Falk, Mike St. Green, and Paul Sarp Friday, May 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern on SFL YouTube. And catch the replay Saturday, May 13th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Next Level Sports. A celebration of 20 seasons and 10 years of SFL football on All Pro Football. You don't want to miss it.
Wow.
Going deep. Man, the catch is made. What a grab by Connor Weston as he went up and mossed Ben Stone.
And you want to talk about Fort Worth having bad luck? Arizona has had all the good luck, especially in that throw there. Jackson gets it off just after she gets hit. And there you see it again. Connor Weston getting himself a moss of a catch, arguably in double coverage. And look at him with that swagger coming in. He's got man-to-man coverage on that play. Don't be surprised if it goes back to him.
One-on-one coverage on the bottom side. Four receivers to the top. They do go back to Weston on a shallow crossing pattern for 5 to get down to the 11-yard line.
Yeah, and they'll take that at this point. They've got themselves in red zone area. They can kind of chip their way forward like they have the last couple of red zone drives for them. So they're not really too worried anymore. Everything's cooking offensively for Arizona.
Brett, are you inwardly cringing every time that somebody takes a long time to get up from a play? Because I am now. You almost expect it.
A little
Jackson, clean pocket to the outside for Punk. Third down and inches, didn't quite stretch that ball across the line to gain.
And I don't think Arizona really cares at this point. At least they're getting themselves closer. I'm pretty sure they're fine with settling with field goals too, because just Fort Worth, at least offensively, isn't in it right now. And Arizona can really cruise themselves forward, really take some time if they want to, and really, just soak it all in.
Third less than a yard. This sounds like DJ territory. It is.
Uh-oh.
He's not going to get there. 4th and 1.
And that is probably a great stop to have as well for Fort Worth. At least boost a little bit more confidence, even if it's on the defensive end. So you know what? We don't want Arizona scoring any more 6-point drives here. So let's get themselves out off the field and get Cliff Allen to, kick these chip shots.
Second chip shot attempts in the game for Cliff Allen. Had one right before the end of the first half. Right foot swings effortlessly through the ball and in from 23 yards, 20-3, 17-point gap for Fort Worth. But on that last drive, even though they didn't get any points out of it, the Toros looked like they were trending in the right direction offensively. Oh, those yardage numbers are ugly.
You're talking about almost quadrupling in the total yards right now, Arizona is.
I know there's a UFC event going on this evening, and if this was over there instead of here, I think the towel might have been thrown in already. But it's not. We've still got a quarter and a half to play. And Fort Worth has another drive upcoming starting at their own 27-yard line.
And if there is ever a drive, start flipping momentum, even if it's just a little bit, it's this one here. Kind of shock the system of this game if they can. Find some type of big play to really flip the script.
It's Stephen Hacker at tailback as we begin this drive for Fort Worth. This is wild, Brett. But if anybody's going to go out in the flat and catch passes, it might as well be the #1 receiver in the SFL. I could think of worse people to have back there.
Well, exactly. Yeah, why not? He's a trusted guy to get touchdowns, so why not use him and utilize him as that swing pass option? Let's see if they actually try to hand it off to him, though.
Yes, you heard that right. Stephen Hacker is currently the tailback for the Fort Worth Toros. He goes out in the flat again. He gets the call again. He's got plenty of space, and he's got a first down.
And right now, it's kind of working out for Fort Worth here. They're starting to get forward momentum from their not tailback right now. And Stephen Hacker, he's gotten themselves 12 yards here on 2 plays.
And a move of the chains up to their own 39-yard line. They do hand it off to him. And that's not anybody I know. That's John Fullerton. And Irvin Cameron has a fractured arm. This is nuts. So we've had now 3 different wide receivers in at tailback for Fort Worth. We had Charlie Baker in there, Stephen Hacker in there, and now John Fullerton.
This is crazy.
It's like Fort Worth are trying to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. But you know what? This has been sticking pretty well. It's back to Charlie Baker out there, and he picks up 5 on the swing pass.
Yeah, and I think it might be just by formation what the different wide receiver is going to be at tailback, because you see different formations. It's almost been, a different wide receiver playing that Jay-Z Bacon role at this point. So this is really trying to throw Arizona off here.
Dunhill on 3rd and 5. To the outside, caught and dragging the feet. Stephen Hacker for a move of the chains into Arizona territory.
And right now, it's really worked there for Fort Worth. They're getting close to midfield. They're getting themselves, or they're past midfield at this point. We haven't seen them past midfield in a long time at this point. And you know what? Just keep going with it. See how far it gets you.
Fort Worth trying to come back in their Stormtrooper-esque all-white uniforms. Dunhill, deep down the field, incomplete. Terrific defense by Everett Garrison.
Yeah, and that one is probably one of our highlighted wide receiver corner battles here, because Everett Garrison, probably a legend of his own at this point, placing Stephen Hacker, the hottest receiver in the last, I would say, 3 years at this point. And it's been a tough battle between the two. You can't err on either side right now, but it's been a fun one to watch so far.
Interesting piece of knowledge here. Everett Garrison is sitting on 49 interceptions all time. One more would be number 50. Floated down the field, and the big cowboy is rumbling down to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, we've been talking about all these wide receivers playing running back and, flipping up the formation. We're kind of forgetting about the cowboy here in Robert Garrett. This should be a guy that should be fed the ball a little bit more often on this drive here, just the first catch on this drive. But it's a big one here. They're getting into Amelia Roll's field goal range now, and they're, for the first time, and I would say at least the last 25 minutes, Fort Worth is threatening here.
Now, you don't want to be kicking field goals down by 17 with minutes to go in the third. Free play, jump off sides. Stephen Hacker out of the backfield will take the penalty yardage.
Yeah, why not at this point? You're going to keep moving yourself forward. Get yourself basically in red zone territory after that penalty. And you know what? If it keeps working, this might be that change of momentum that we were talking about for Fort Worth here.
Listen, I don't hate the choice, knowing that it's a free play to get out of bounds as fast as possible, stop the clock, only run 2 or 3 seconds off. If he tries to turn upfield, gets tackled in bounds, the clock would stop because of the penalty, but you'd run 5 or 6 more seconds off.
That's very true.
1st and 5 now. Do Fort Worth try to hand the ball off? They don't. They throw it out to Aaron Alexander. First touch for the fullback, surprisingly, today. And it's 2nd and 2.
Yeah, a little bit of a shocker that Alexander hasn't had any touches up until this point to get involved. When you have both of your running backs out for the game now, you think Alexander would get more touches, but nah, they're going to trust in their wide receivers here, and I don't mind that.
Only 22 total touches in the regular season for Aaron Alexander, so mostly used as a blocker. Stephen Hacker out of the backfield with space to work with. He's going to pick up a first down at the 13-yard line, and Fort Worth are in the red zone.
Yeah, and again, for the first time in a long time, probably since their first drive of the game when they were started in immaculate position, Fort Worth is in the red zone. They just need to continue keeping that momentum forward to at least finish with the score here.
First time in the red zone since the Remington James interception on the first drive of the game, and that's a dart from Marcus Dunhill to a sliding Cade Stevens to set up 1st and goal at the 3.
Yeah, that is a tough throw to make, and Dunhill throws an absolute dart past the outstretched hands of Skinny Washington right into Cade Stevens' breadbasket, and more importantly, out of bounds here, so at least the clock is running once they get out there, so maybe they can get one play off before the quarter ends.
Baker, I believe, is in the backfield. No, that's Charlie Baker. Do they run the ball here? They don't. It actually is Hacker. He breaks a tackle and a beautiful spin move. Touchdown, Toros.
He played the card of Jay-Z Bacon shedding off a tackle with a spin move to get himself in the end zone. And how about this? Fort Worth has some life here. After the second running back injury happens, they get themselves a score at the end of the 3rd quarter. And for the first time in this game, we've got a little bit of doubt if Arizona can hold on.
I can imagine that Jay-Z Bacon is in some sort of cast or on some sort of stretcher on the sideline trying to download how to be a running back into Stephen Hacker's brain in real time.
I wouldn't be too shocked at this point.
We go to the 4th quarter. Somehow, it's still only a 10-point game. Will the Toros somehow overcome all the adversity and come back in this game? You'll have to stay here to find out right here on the SFL presented by APM Music on YouTube. APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection. State-of-the-art technology and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. Well, Brett, Fort Worth is a couple of defensive stops from making a game of this one in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, but that's what Fort Worth needs, is a couple of stops. Right now, Arizona really has pushed down the field and really dominated time possession. And it's the result of DJ Moses really getting hot, so they really need to stop him first.
Moses, you mentioned hot. He's hotter than the desert sun right about now as he's got 9 more yards. Since the halftime interval, there was only one Arizona drive in that 3rd quarter. It was a 10-play, 73-yard drive that took 8 minutes off the clock. No, correction, almost 4 minutes off the clock. Started at 8:42, as I read the stat sheet wrong. But that was it. They only had 1 possession in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, but still, that's still over 4 minutes of football, close to like half the quarter, and they really took their time to get themselves that field goal.
This is still a 2-possession game. If Arizona can take big chunks of time off the clock, even if they don't score touchdowns at the end of it, they can still put a lot of pressure on Fort Worth's offense to go fast when they have the ball.
Yeah, and that should be the goal here in this drive for Arizona. Even if they don't get a score, at least shed, 4, 5, 6 minutes off the clock and really dwindle that chance of Fort Worth coming back to near zero.
Hand off Moses. A wave of white and gold pushes him backwards for no gain. Tip of the spear that time was Jerry D. Gond. Moses had over 100 yards in the first half, has cooled off a little bit in the second, but still on for probably a 200-yard game and upwards of 30 carries.
Yeah, I think it's just because he hasn't really touched the football on the ground all that much. I think he had more receptions in the third quarter than he did touches on the ground.
2nd and 10, bunch formation left. All three
Watch
of them
out.
go out on a streak, and this ball is knocked away.
Not a bad idea there from Arizona to maybe shock the Fort Worth system. Probably went to the wrong target. Went with just trying to at least get the first down. You had a deeper option, maybe a little bit on the opposite side of the field. Now it's a third and if Fort Worth can stop this, you know, the chances of this comeback drastically rise.
DJ Moses has more rushing yards in the game than Ashley Jackson has passing yards, 178 to 175. And that number changes right about now as TJ Punk makes another catch in double coverage.
And there's that classic Ashley Jackson, throw it in between double coverage, throw, and it still manages to get the catch. It's just fantastic. Needle in a haystack kind of throw. Trying to get a freaking thimble inside the smallest of holes, it feels like, for Ashley Jackson, but she still manages to do it. My Lord, that is something that she needs to do for the rest of this game.
Under 9 minutes to go in the contest. Jackson sacked back at the 50. Nobody open down the field. Luther Gond rips down the quarterback.
Yeah, and did you see how Luther Gond ripped Ashley Jackson? That is a frustration sack if I've ever seen it. It's not the way Fort Worth has wanted this game to be, and he just ragdolled her to the ground for that sack.
Ragdolling the quarterback. He ragdolled Patrick Kelly, the left guard, as well. Went straight past him and forces a 2nd and 16 in Fort Worth. This might be the time to get off the field. 7-step drop from Jackson over the middle and 3rd and 1 as a sliding grab from Connor Weston picks up 15 yards.
Yeah, after that sack that felt like an insurmountable opportunity, insurmountable chance to get that first down, but it was just a little bit of a mistimed change of pace from it looked to be Regier to not, you know, carry on with Weston that led to that open opportunity to pass the football. And now here we are, instead of an impossible task, it's 3rd and manageable.
It's going to be the DJ Moses show. Behind the fullback, Justin Williams. He falls forward for a first down, and that might be a backbreaker for the Fort Worth defense, unable to get off the field on 2nd and 16.
Yeah, another 3rd down conversion here for Arizona. We haven't talked about 3rd down conversions yet in this game, and that's a big one there. That's what they need. That's what they needed to really move themselves forward.
Weak side toss. DJ Moses. 7 more yards for him.
Yeah, and it feels like it's going to be the Moses show the rest of the way. He's going to continue getting those touches. He's close to 35 total touches in this game. Shades of Robert Redford, if I can say so, with all the touches he's getting. And right now, why not go to him? He has been your bread and butter in this offense.
Approaching the red zone at the 23-yard line. It's Moses. Somehow gets away of a Luther Gond in the backfield, but doesn't get anywhere, as Adam Leach was waiting for him on the outside.
Yeah, it's another 3rd down here, the third down of this drive here in Fort Worth. If you ever need a stop now, this is your chance. 2 yards away. If it's going to be another run, which it won't be, stop the running back, but deflections are key.
Slant picked off, and this one will go all the way! Fort Worth going the other way with it! It's Chip Mustang, the 4th cornerback off the bench with a massive interception that may have just saved Fort Worth's season.
It had a key deflection earlier in this game already to force a field goal from Arizona, and how he got himself the biggest interception of his life. And look at that, Fort Worth almost in field goal range after that. And with how this Fort Worth offense ran with a wide receiver at running back, this could be the opportunity to get this game within 3.
Dunhill in the gun. There's been pressure all day long from the defensive front of Arizona, and it was almost given right back. Everett Garrison had his, that was J.R. Lawless who had his hands on the football.
Yeah, and right now, Fort Worth, I talked about this earlier about trying to flip momentum. And I think right now, if you've got a Rick Meter Trujillo, I'm thinking it might be erring a bit on the side of Fort Worth now with all this momentum flipping.
Major momentum on the side of Fort Worth. This time they hand it off to Alexander, 3rd down 11, and it's going to take another big Dunhill throw to keep that momentum going and not go immediately 3 and out after the interception.
Yeah, and right now, I think there's maybe just one guy that you should throw the football to, and you could probably guess who it is.
Stephen Hacker is in the formation as part of the triple on the far side. Dunhill lets it fly, and it's knocked away beautifully by Parker Thomas.
Yeah, and that's not a bad option to get to as well. Cade Stevens can be that guy to get you those touchdowns, but that was just perfectly covered by Parker Thomas, just step for step with him, and when he went for the leaping try, he was right in front of the football. Just fantastic work from Parker Thomas, and now they're probably going to force a field goal out of this unless, by miracle, they bring out the offense for 4th down, which they won't.
Amelia Rose, this will be a 50-yarder. (17 of 18 in the regular season. 1 for 1 today. It is no good. Missed it to the left, and it's still a 10-point game with 5:40 to go.
Not only a bit to the left, it was probably inches short as well. Can't see it from this angle, but it looked a little short. Unfortunately, Rose just couldn't get enough leg on it. And if I'm Arizona, I'm taking this opportunity to really blow this game open, because I feel if they score one more touchdown, that seals it.
And again, another chance for DJ Moses and company to grind this clock down. Kick that sand through the hourglass. Pump fake from Jackson over the middle. And once again, finding TJ Punk, who's been the most reliable receiver all game for Ashley Jackson.
Yeah, and that's a big throw from Jackson. This is where, the clutch DNA genes come in. Who's going to have those big moments? And Ashley Jackson has ice and clutch in her veins. So don't be surprised if it's going to be the Ashley Jackson show and she starts throwing it a little bit more here.
Punk over 100 yards. Connor Weston close with 89 yards. DJ middle fighting for 3.
There was a swarm of both offensive and defensive players there. It was tough to get any gap opportunity for Moses, and he was lucky to get 3 in my opinion.
Every second that ticks off the clock, agonizing for the Toros. They had a lifeline, but could not capitalize. And they're going to have their defense to come up big again. It's a free play.
And that's going to turn 2nd and 7 to 2nd and 2. That is not what Fort Worth wants here, because that makes it easier for Arizona to keep chewing the clock.
Don't leave the broadcast without joining our Discord server. There is so much more to do in the SFL than just being a player. Join to check for content from teams and about the league created by the community. Participate in pick'em games, play SFL fantasy football, and test your skills in the survivor pool. To join our server, visit www.simulationfl.net and click the Join Now button near the top of the page. The SFL community is 2,000 strong, and we'll see you there. 2nd and 2. DJ
blocking.
finds a hole, and the blocking is perfect for another first down.
Look at that, so much open space on that right side. The offensive line did an amazing job to just open that gap on that right side and just not be touched past the first down marker. And that's all Arizona wants. Just move those chains, eat up the clock.
189 yards from Moses, still on the 200-yard watch for him. 30 carries in the ball game. He'll probably get another one right here. He also has 6 receptions for 34 yards. Moses on a stretch play to the right. One tackle to break it is in the open field. Gets a second tackle down the field and pushes forward to the 13-yard line. And he's 3 yards away from 200.
That was just an ideal play for Moses Welsh. Shedding off the Razier tackle, gets himself a nice block, and just had to beat Adam Leach and couldn't get to it. But he is going to accept that. They're once again in the red zone. They can just do whatever they want at this point. They can slow the game down to just a trickle game if they want to really make Fort Worth pay.
That was Lennox Lewis, the center, all the way out 20 yards downfield, blocking for DJ Moses that time. Another offsides. Fort Worth beginning to spiral. And once again, Brett, they've had their chances, but just have come up short in a game where they have overcome massive adversity to even be in it at the end.
Yeah, and give Fort Worth credit to be at this stage in this game. Their defense being really sound throughout this. Only allowing Arizona to score 3 points so far in this second half with about 3.5 left to go here. And they've just been fantastic throughout. The offense has kind of woken up here a little bit, but like you said, they've just been short on their chances, and literally.
First and 5, they took the penalty yards. Moses rushing forward and tackled. Only a gain of 1, but that's not the intention. DJ now over 200 yards rushing. 206 on the game. He has been phenomenal.
Yeah, it just continues, to really increase his, make a showcase for his bid to be MVP this season. And right now, after these 2 playoff games that he's played, he might be the odds-on favorite.
I formation. Snap with 2:36. Moses falling forward, 3rd and inches. Didn't get the ball across the line to gain. Total yards before that play were 454 to 172, and it's still just a 10-point game.
Yeah, and give credit to the Fort Worth defense, not breaking when they've bent throughout this entire game. They've done a great job. It's still 20-10. They've got one more chance to make a stop, and if they force a field goal out of this, there's still a sliver of hope, but we're getting to the 2-minute warning.
They will not snap the ball, and we will head to the 2-minute warning. Arizona, 120 seconds from going back to the championship game and forcing a rematch with the Baltimore Vultures. Third and inches. DJ Moses to the goal line, and Fort Worth will start to burn their timeouts.
That's all they can do left at this point. Just save as much time as possible to give themselves a fighting chance. But Arizona's 1 yard away from just nailing that final hole, or putting that final nail in the coffin. I'm screwing up the saying here. We're getting close to the end of this game. No more screw ups, Solberg. Let's go.
A long night. 10:30 on the East Coast, and Moses supposes his toes are roses as he dances into the end zone to complete his hat trick of rushing touchdowns and push the Arizona Scorpions to the title game.
Yeah, that pretty much seals the deal here, unfortunately. Fort Worth, you gave it a hell of a fight, but that's the final nail in this coffin, and Arizona will get themselves in the championship game off the back of DJ Moses. The hat trick is complete. The two century mark in yards is complete. He's played himself a fantastic playoffs.
DJ Moses, player of the game, has to be. I don't think there's any doubt that he is the one. But again, all credit to Fort Worth, who, as you said right at the top of the broadcast 2 hours ago, Brett, this is the best season in their franchise history. They've made it all the way to the semifinals. And in a game that after the first quarter, when J.Z. Bacon went down, they had no business being in, they had a shot to make this a 3-point game in the fourth quarter and just came up a little bit short.
Yeah, it's just a little bit short, and quite literally, if Amelia Rose would have made that field goal with more than 5 minutes to go, we might be singing to a different beat right now. But unfortunately, that's just how the apples fell for Fort Worth. But they shouldn't be discredited with the season they had. This has been historically the best season ever for Fort Worth, and they should hang their hat on how spectacular their season has been.
The Arizona Scorpions remain undefeated against the Fort Worth Toros all time. 5-0 as Dunhill throws it across the middle, incomplete, 1:47 left. And they will go 3-0 against Fort Worth at Fatality Field. An organization that has been around since season 1, started as the Oklahoma City Renegades 10 years ago. Losers of the first 2 SFL championships, and then it took 10 years to get back to that championship game. They fell in maybe one of the wildest games in SFL history. Hacker makes a nice catch across the middle, timeout Fort Worth. Last season to Baltimore.
And I was there for that championship game. That was just a crazy turn of events. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of penalty fly off, and then it ends up still being Baltimore possession, and then all Shark Tarkington had to do was kick a field goal. And I bet Arizona has been thinking about that all season, and now they get their second chance.
Opened the broadcast by saying the Arizona Scorpions still have a burning desire of unfinished business to claim the title that they believe is rightfully theirs, and they're going to get a shot. Still driving down the field are the Fort Worth Toros. Nice strength from Robert Garrett to fall forward. Minute 20 to go. Fort Worth just one timeout. Dunhill out to Alexander, only his second touch of the day. What a violent hit from the defender. Backups in for Arizona on the defensive side. That was Terrence Crawford. But I believe, and I might have Cam or some other SFL historian confirm this for me later, this is the second time in SFL history we have seen a wide receiver, or in this case multiple wide receivers, line up at tailback, and to have it happen in a semifinal just goes to show you that anything can happen, as a late touchdown is going to come through for Cade Stevens as he mosses Everett Garrison on the outside. And as Cam does confirm that, yes, this is only the second time it's ever happened. Cade Stevens, nice job. Brings it back to within 10.
Yeah, and it's going to be a more respectable score here for Fort Worth. And, Cam was just giving up, I guess, the stat line that the defense for Arizona has only given up one offensive touchdown in the playoffs. Well, here's the second here. Arizona's been outstanding in these playoffs and limiting options for opposing offenses through these 2 games.
Amelia Rose with the extra point, 27-17. And barring some crazy onside kick shenanigans, that should do it.
Well, you never know. There could be another chance Fort Worth can get out of this, but 10-point game with 68 seconds to go. There's still a chance, but the chance is pretty small.
Here comes the onside kick. It is flown straight into the waiting arms of the front line of the Arizona Scorpions. And that will do it. All that Ashley Jackson needs to do is kneel out the last minute 6 and head to the finals for the second straight season in a row. She's going in the Hall of Fame in a couple months. But right now, all that's on Ashley Jackson's mind is winning a championship.
And I think Ashley Jackson definitely has a case later on if she continues this way to be a 2-time Hall of Famer. Remember, Jackson's coming in as a community ambassador and not as a player, but there's an opportunity once her career ends. I don't think that's going to be for a while, though, that she could be a Hall of Famer as a player as well.
Championship game date and time has been confirmed. It is Baltimore at Arizona this Friday, May 12th, 8 p.m. Eastern on the SFL's YouTube channel. And if you want to watch it on Next Level Sports, well, you can, but you got to wait till Saturday, May 13th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. One more kneel, and that'll do it. Ball hits hand, knee hits ground, and the Fort Worth Toros came in with the Stormtrooper uniforms, thinking they were the evil empire. But the only evil empire awaits circling above. The Vultures will swoop to Fatality Field next week and take on the Arizona Scorpions in a championship game rematch. Scorpions 27, Toros 17. Arizona, Eddie Gage loves y'all, and you're headed back to the championship.
A great, complete performance. Look at the balance in just yards alone that we see on the team comparison chart right there. Passing yards 209, rushing yards 200. You cannot ask for a more ideal game for Arizona, barring the 2 Fort Worth injuries. In the back of their heads, they're thinking to themselves, this could have been a way different game if even Jay-Z Bacon was healthy and played throughout this game. But they still managed to play their type of football, and despite being stuffed in that second half, they found a way. But the big thing here, I have to give credit to Fort Worth for making this a game throughout all the adversity they were given throughout this game. It had to have been tough on the sidelines, in the locker room at halftime, but they still made this a fun and exciting game, and they have got nothing to hang their heads towards. They fought with the most heart that I've seen from a team that had 2 injuries in this game, 2 in the same position. Like you said, the second ever time it has ever happened in APF era history, and they still made it a fighting game. Congratulations to Fort Worth on a fantastic season. But Arizona, now's your chance to take revenge on a game that you've seen as controversial last season.
The MVP of the game, it has to be DJ. 34 carries, 205 yards, added another 42 in the receiving category. And I think when we started this season all the way back in January, Brett, if you had to place a bet on the championship matchup, I think one of the favorites would have been the rematch between Arizona and Baltimore. And it may not have been the most banner regular season for both of these teams. Baltimore flipping. I mean, they lost to Fort Worth this season. They lost to Carolina this season. They came on strong in the playoffs, as they always do. Arizona have just cruised through these first 2 rounds. And, of course, Fort Worth made it a battle tonight, but the game was never really in doubt, even early on in the fourth quarter when Fort Worth thought they might come back.
Yeah, that's very true. But give credit to Fort Worth. They still gave it a fighting chance. But Arizona, it's time for an exorcism next week in your eyes.
Like to do every time we hit the end of a season, I'd like to thank specific people who help make these broadcasts possible. Mike Daggs, broadcast director. Chris Curtis, assistant broadcast director. Tyler Falk, who's been helping out with the broadcast meetings this season, do a fantastic job in keeping us informed of all the relevant information, on schedule, on time, and ready to go each and every week. We could not bring these broadcasts to you without their help. Cameron Irvine, of course, behind the scenes, producing every game live. We couldn't do this without him as well. This may be the last time for a long time that I put on this headset to bring you SFL football. For the past 6 years, it has been the joy of my life to bring you games every single week. So as I say goodbye, it's not goodbye, it's only till next time. For Brett Killian, beside me in the broadcast booth, Justin Reside and Top Kiefer on stats, Cameron Irvine in the production truck. Thank you so much for watching the SFL semifinals. The finals are next week. Don't miss it. You've been watching the Simulation Football League presented by 8 PM Music on YouTube. And good night.
Ready?